All right,
Hey, I'm James Kramer.
I'm Michael, and we'll be talking about the Mali War and conflict.
Uh,
So, we decided to do the Mali War in Africa. And it's an ongoing armed conflict that started in January of 2012 between the northern and southern parts of Mali and Africa. And then you want to explain why we picked this?
well, according to Global Voices, on January 2012, several groups began fighting against the Malian government for independence and greater autonomy of northern Mali, and they called that Azawad. The National Movement for the Liberation of Azawad, an organization fighting this area of Mali for independent homeland, was for the Tuareg people and had taken control of that region in April 2012.
Yeah,
This war had been going on for like 10 plus years, Michael.
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, we picked this because we both knew it was an ongoing war. Never really did research on why it happened or why it's still going on, and wanted to find out more. And so some of the major players that are featured in this war. So it's definitely the Malian army, and then its allies fighting against a rebel group, and they're fighting for independence in the region.
Yeah,
So
these groups include Islamist groups like Al Qaeda and the Islamic Maghreb. And then, Michael, you want to tell them the rest?
yeah, so it's just a bunch of terrorist groups, kind of on the Western Africa side, and then Tuareg nomads who belong to the political and military Azawad National Liberation Movement. So we'll just abbreviate that. I think I have that down in the notes and just call them ANLM. So
Cool. And then let's just give our thoughts on maybe why they're at war.
yeah, so I mean the first attack came on January 17th of 2012, and it was attack in all three towns, and the attack actually took place kind of in the southern part, and that kicked out around like 10,000 people, and ton of people that didn't want to be affected by the war kind of just left. And then,
Dang, that's really sad.
yeah, it's crazy.
I actually saw something in the same website I just used, Global Voices, that one of the most recent events actually happened in 2020 and 2019, where people were killed in an attack on Mali army base
Yeah,
near the Mauritania border.
yeah. So basically, they were set up in a camp, military camp, training their guys, and a bunch of guys came there, killing a ton of people. And then, according to Mary Harper, which is an African reporter, um, she blames both sides that have violence, including self-defense groups, the Malian army, the Russian group, and then for the current standings, no one's really winning. It's just a ton of killing and violence on both sides. But recently, uh, to be said, one of the rebel guys, um, he sees control on the conflict as of right now, which right now that was I think December 7th, which is crazy. And then, JD, you want to talk about
Okay, so
how many
well,
people
the
were
rebel
killed?
guy, I believe his name is Ansar Dine. Is that it?
Yeah, I think that's how you
Yeah.
pronounce it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
The UNHCR has said that over 475,000 people have been killed in this almost 10-year conflict now,
yeah.
since it started in 2012.
And I think the population there is around like 15 million, which is pretty
So, I
crazy.
mean, if we run the numbers there, that's a big percentage.
Yeah,
I didn't even know about this until we were assigned.
yeah, it's
To be honest,
almost 10%,
I
12%.
think another big part of that would be people being displaced as well. How many people got displaced, Michael?
Uh, let's see. So from the neighborhood countries, which would be like Niger. Let's see. The amount of people that have been displaced was 150 or 175K, which is just crazy that it's
That's a lot. Wow.
affected a lot of countries too. So we'll get into the ideologies. So the first one that I want to talk about that was performed here was fascism and
Fascism.
or fascism. My bad. It's all good.
It's all good.
So basically, that's prioritizing the group over the individual, and then the group is basically all in control, really feared by the outsiders. And
Yeah.
one example would be the Nazis in Germany, kind of taking
And
charge.
then there are several rebel groups actually in the north of the country that have been waging an insurgency against the Malian government.
Yeah,
They're based in the capital, Bamako, in the south. And these groups are not prioritizing what the people want or their safety. And that is actually why the war is not getting any better, and this war is still going on.
yeah. So that's a good explanation to why there's no really current standing. Then the second ideology, you want to list that?
The National Liberation Movement of Azawad. They're a nomadic people. They've been traveling all over, and they've been seeking autonomy from a large northern swath of Mali.
Crazy.
Yeah, this is fascism because they don't prioritize the people affected by this, and they only really care about their group goals.
Yeah. So we'll go on to imperialism, which is the second one. So basically, it's an extension by one's country, kind of bringing other countries into this and affecting them. And so, as I said, I'm going to abbreviate this, the MNLA. So they took parts of like Nigeria, like I said earlier. And then, although that they respect it, there's still huge terrorist groups that are affecting them, which we listed how many people were affected. I think it was around like half a million, which is just crazy. And then this is an example of imperialism because they're affecting other countries throughout the war. Then on to our next talking point. So you want to talk about that, JD? The Nicholas guy?
Yeah, Nicholas Bavares stated that French got pulled into this war. And they said that they can still get out of it with little violence. I don't know about that, but in the article he says that the next French president will have to reevaluate the threats hanging over their country and the rest of Europe. These terrorists have bad intentions.
Yeah.
They'll have to redefine the strategy for combating these terrorist threats, and they'll have to strengthen national resistance. I remember seeing many. I actually remember being in France in 2015, and there was a terrorist attack while I was there. And
oh wow!
Yeah, it was crazy, and the security of France and the French people is very important, especially because
of course
they're such a huge part of that, global image.
Yeah. So
in my opinion, France and other countries should get out.
Yeah, obviously
it's starting to affect their people as well.
Yeah, so we'll wrap this up with a conclusion on how we think they could end. So my talking point, I'd say, it's kind of hard, obviously, looking up past wars. I think the Europeans, which are helping the people that fled the country, they're helping. They have an organization that provides food and water for them. But I think the government should try to make some type of deal with these people. But that could also lead to more violence since these are major terrorist groups. And then you want to state your opinion and then we can wrap this up?
Yeah. To be honest, I think that this conflict started very early on and it hasn't stopped. And some people have just lived their entire lives in this reality. And many countries are getting hit with these consequences. But I think there has to be some sort of intervention in terms of other countries coming in to help and maybe taking more time out of our day and showing more of it in the media so that people can understand what's actually going on and maybe some motivation
Yeah,
that these
100%.
extremists have. And
Yeah.
maybe
And then
kids
the
will realize.
last thing that I'll cover. So
Yeah.
one of my ideas, I looked up how to stop a war, and one of them said emotional intelligence, which is understanding how the other side feels, give them value, and make it equal. Kind of make a like a peace. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, that pretty much wraps up the podcast. So, JD, thank you for your time.
Of course, Mikey.
Yeah, and we're out.